viewers, and welcome to Spotlight here on Hope TV, where you look and live. And here on Spotlight, we do our very best every time to bring to you persons who are doing amazing things, wonderful things, meaningful things in the community, and transforming our society in the direction that supports abundant life. And on Spotlight, on this edition, we are absolutely delighted to have with us the Deputy Ambassador of Israel Embassy in Nairobi, and that is Eyal David, a wonderful young diplomat who is accredited to, whose mandate is the embassy's mandate is one that touches Uganda, Tanzania, Malawi, Seychelles, and also the UN. And young, vibrant diplomat, Eyal.
Asante sana.
Welcome. Yeah, karibu.
Shalom,
Karibu.
we say in Hebrew.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yeah.
Shalom to the viewers as well.
Shalom sounds very nice. You know?
Yes, you know, because shalom has two meanings. It's high and also peace.
Peace.
And we all want peace,
All
right? We all pray for peace in
Yeah.
Israel.
Yeah.
So this is a beautiful word. You're
Shalom.
right. Shalom.
Viewers, shalom. And as we go on with this conversation, you are always part of our conversation. So do text us on 22232. Let's hear what your views are, what your comments are. Also engage us on Facebook and Twitter as we talk to the Deputy Ambassador of Israel here in Nairobi, that is Eyal David. Wow. Welcome to Nairobi.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Kenya.
Thank you.
You've been here 1 year and some months now.
Exactly.
And I think it's just interesting just before you even get to the diplomatic conversation, I think it's good for our viewers. I'm sure they are curious and they would want to know a few things about you as a person. We'll talk about your young status and how you are a diplomat. That's very exciting for many young people who are watching us. But just tell us something about yourself, about your family, about your education, and maybe about your passion for humanity.
So thank you very much for having me here today. It's my first time here in Hope TV.
Welcome.
But it's not my first time in Sitam Church. We are now in Sitam Valley Road. I've been to 3 Sitam churches in Nairobi. The one in Karen, and also the one in Ngong, and here. It's always good to be back.
Great.
And I'm thankful for thank you very much.
Yes.
And I'm very, very happy to, anytime I get an invitation from you. So I'm here, as you mentioned, over a year now in Nairobi. I arrived last August. And you know, life of a diplomat is short. Every time you go abroad, it's for 2-3 years. So I'm now entering the second year of my term, and I'm planning to stay 3 years because I love the place.
Good.
I love Kenya. I love East Africa. It's the first time that I'm in Africa. Although my mother was born in the continent.
Where is that?
She was born in Libya, in North Africa.
Yeah.
So it is good to be back, you know, although it's not, we're not in the North Africa, we're in Sub-Saharan Africa, but still it's the same continent. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm here a single diplomat, the first single diplomat at the embassy.
You're single?
Imagine, I'm single,
and
yes.
Just expect that after this conversation, you'll have lots of people trying to access you.
Thank you. Thank you. I already, you know, I'm active on social media. I have an active Twitter account and you know, on Facebook. And I already get approaches from people who are very interested. No, I'm not speaking about romantic issues. You can contact me.
That too. That too.
That too. It's important as well. But yes, I'm there and I'm accessible. And you know, I'm not only in my office. I go around. I meet the people. I go to churches. I go to universities. I go to hospital, to every place that is possible where we have collaboration as an embassy, and we meet the people and we speak to the people, and I see the love and the support that we have here for Israel. It's a great thing, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, that's it's interesting because I think over a number of years now, so many pilgrimages to Israel by many churches, many Kenyans. And even in terms of government, there's a bigger mention, an increasing mention of Israel and Kenya. Israel is becoming mainstream in terms of being part of the Kenyan conversation. I know that, as before you get to those relationships, you also went to the renowned Hebrew University.
Exactly.
Yes.
So yeah, my degrees are from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, which for the viewers who have ever been to Israel, it's the university that we have next to the old city. It overlooks the old city. So I studied there 5 years of my life, 3 here for bachelor degree in international relations and Middle Eastern studies. I wanted to study the neighborhood where I live in. And a second degree, MA degree in Middle Eastern studies with a focus on the Jewish community of Libya. And every morning, I was living on the mountain, on Mount Scopus. Every morning I wake up, I saw the holy city of Jerusalem, the old city of Jerusalem. And I cannot describe it to you in words. The holiness, it's there in the air. It's the city of Jerusalem, our capital, Israel's capital, is holy to the three monotheistic religions, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. And all it's a small piece of land, but all the prophets were there, and all our history is there. Jerusalem is 3,000 years old, and to have this privilege to wake up every morning and to see it, it is, it gives you the energy for the week, for the day, for the year.
I like what you say, that holiness is in the air. That's amazing. And anyone who's not been to Israel, just know that when you get there, holiness is in the air. Just a dynamic there, because Kenya being a very Christian country, largely a big section of Kenya, of course, is Christian, and lots of Christians now going for the pilgrimage to Israel. And one of the interesting, almost paradox, is that though the Lord Jesus Christ, that's his birthplace, and that's where he did his work. And that's where we can say the Christian movement began. When you look at the demographics of the present day Israel, the Christians themselves rather, are, we can say, a minority. Can you just maybe
elaborate?
A highlight on that?
Yes. So at first, let's start with the fact that we are brothers. The Christians and the Jews are brothers. After all, Jesus was a Jew. So so these days, Israel of these days is a Jewish state, and we have minorities, as you mentioned, a Christian minority, of course, and also a Muslim minority. And it's a democratic society, pluralistic society where there is place to everyone. And I must tell you, speaking about Christianity in the Middle East, Israel is the only state in this region where the Christian population is growing and not diminishing. You speak about the Christians in Syria, in Lebanon, in Iraq, where they are hunted and when they are being targeted by Islamist terrorist organizations. You speak of the Maronite community of Lebanon is disappearing. They all moved, almost all of them have moved out of the country to Canada, to United States. The Copts in Egypt also are not having easy life. But in Israel, the Christian community is there and is doing well, is being represented also in our parliament. All the minorities are represented. Actually, the third biggest party in the Israeli parliament is the is an Arab party which is composed of both Christians and Muslims, and this is a great thing. Yes.
Yeah. Now you talked about about neighboring countries to Israel, and we all know that over the years Israel has had a lot of hostility. Doesn't have many friends, and we can even say that the present formation is about 71 years old.
Exactly.
And but somehow, even rising from the Holocaust, a very horrendous, event in history, that you've been able to grow to become a country that is admirable in the world, a force, in the world, and actually even economically, very, very progressive and very powerful, politically influential within a very short period of time. And one can't help think about the resilience of this country. Maybe you can tell us also how that history of hostility inspires the country of Israel as we know it today.
So you mentioned many things in your sentences. I want to highlight the fact that, that the re-establishment of the Jewish state of Israel 71 years ago is a miracle. It's a miracle that God gave us. You know, for more than 2,000 years we were in exile. The Jews were expelled from their homeland, and for many years they were scattered all over the world. And then in 1948, it was the right timing. After the Holocaust, there were some conditions in the region that the Jewish people returned to the homeland. And you mentioned the hostility that we've had throughout the years, not only in the 71 years of independence, but also throughout the years, the Jewish people was a target to anti-Semitism and hatred all over the world, because I must tell you, we are the chosen people, you know, and when you are chosen people and when you are so small, people are jealous.
Yeah.
So that we had to face it, but you know, this is, when I say miracle, the re-establishment of the state of Israel, it's a miracle also that we are still on the map. Throughout these years of all these challenges that we had to go through as a people, we are there, and the reason is that we know we are thanks to God, and you know, the fact that He is on our side, and thanks to our friends all over the world. You know, we speak about our great ally, United States, and especially United States of these days with President Trump, who is a great supporter of Israel. We have them. We have some of the European countries, but we have the countries here in East Africa. And you mentioned the good relations that we have with Kenya. They are excellent relations. They started even before Kenya got independence. I don't know if you know it.
Okay, can you just highlight about that? Yes.
Yeah, well, we laid the cornerstone for the current embassy, which is in Upper Hill, 3 days before independence. We had a visit of the foreign minister back then, Golda Meir, who later became the only woman prime minister for the state of Israel. It was later on. But she came here in December 1963, and the 9th of December, there was a ceremony with her and, of course, Prime Minister Kenyatta. He was then the Prime Minister, because you got independence only 3 days later.
3 days later, yes.
And they did a ceremony. And when you come to the embassy, the big photo that will welcome you is a big photo of President Kenyatta and the Foreign Minister Golda Meir and the Jewish mayor of Nairobi. Do you know that we had a Jewish mayor here?
It's amazing.
Yes, in the 50s we had a Jewish mayor, and we are very proud of it. He is the one donating us the land for the new embassy. We are building a new embassy now next to the Belgium embassy in Karura Forest. So maybe our viewers that are passing there, they see the construction work is us. Hopefully in a year and a half, 2 years, we'll open beautiful embassy. It's about time, after 55 years in an old building, to move to a new building. And also it is the center of Israel in East Africa, because from here, from Nairobi, we are covering, as you said, 4 other countries, which is Uganda, Tanzania, Malawi, and Seychelles. And also we are the representative for the United Nations organizations. And I must tell you that in the region, in Kenya, but in the other countries, we see the love that we have to Israel. You know, people here are religious, they are devoted Christians that know about Israel, that care about Israel, that come to Israel. You know, they come and walk in the footsteps of Jesus. They care about us. And we see it in government level, but we also see it from the people. You mentioned, the important visits that we had here. I'll elaborate, and I say that we had the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, visiting here twice in the last 3 years. He was here for the first time, and then the second time was in 2017 for the inauguration of President Kenyatta. He was the only Western leader to attend this ceremony. And that means a lot about our relations. Of course, President Kenyatta also visited Jerusalem. We have delegations from the Knesset, our parliament, and of course from the Parliament of Kenya. Actually, as we speak, today there is a group of parliamentarians from Kenya that are visiting Israel. They are doing pilgrimage, and they are seeing the beauty of Israel. And
it's very important that our parliamentarians are in Israel, because they need to breathe in the holiness.
Exactly, and get the energy.
And energy, and bring it to our parliament here. We badly need that. that holiness in the air.
But I encourage, I understand that you have more than 400 parliament members. So this is only a group of, let's say, 15 or 20. I do encourage more.
We need all of them
to come, but not only the parliamentarians. Every Kenyan is welcome to come and visit Israel, see the holiness in the air. Go to Jerusalem, go to Nashua, the places where Jesus lived, but not only this. See what we did in 71 years of independence. We are a small country in the desert, but we made the desert bloom.
Let's talk about that, Ambassador, because it is very interesting to the world and even to us here in Kenya, because we have, our land is way bigger, our resources are way bigger.
More water, more green areas.
Talk about it. But you have, in terms of agriculture, you have amazing work in agriculture. In terms of technology, you have an amazing, and we'll talk about that in a short while, we'll talk about young people. You've also stepped up quite a bit, to bring some of the best and most used innovations, in the world. Talk about military. You're a small country, but also in terms of your military prowess, many countries would come to train in Israel, and a lot of wonderful things, right? And we want to ask specifically about the work ethic, when it comes to the people of Israel, because how else do you achieve these things?
Yeah, so this is everything you said is true. We just in these 71 years of independence, as I mentioned, we made the desert bloom, and we become a success story. We are one of the leading countries in the world, and we are that small in a neighborhood which is not, not everyone there loves us, and they don't make our life easy. But that makes us strong. The sense of togetherness that we have, and the sense also of. Well, we reached to a desert. The Jews after the establishment of the State of Israel. So we had Jewish community there, but then when officially it was declared and was accepted by the nations of the world that there is a Jewish state in the Middle East, many Jews came, and they came to the desert, but then, they have to take care of their own future. They had to work, they had to think about innovative solutions. How we ensure food to and water to all these millions that are coming now. What do we do? What do we do with this desert? How we don't want to live there only for a few years. It's our, after this long exile, we are there to stay. So it was this, we speak about, you mentioned our success in high tech. Yes, this innovative solution. We had to think to create something out of this nothing that there was in the desert. And it's a bit exaggeration because the desert is not nothing, but still. But we
understand, yes.
Yeah, but and that's why I invite our viewers to come and see not only the holy places, but also see how Israel, as a small country, has become a leader in agriculture, a leader in high tech, a leader in cybersecurity. And we are very, very proud to work together with our friends all over the world, and especially our friends here in East Africa. And we speak now, we are in Kenya, our great friend Kenya. We work together in all these fields, and that's the beauty of bilateral relations. We work together to ensure better future for both people, the people of Israel and the people of Kenya. And I must tell you that every year we send 100 Kenyan students to our desert to see and to learn how we dealt with the conditions that we had there, how we ensured food security to our community so that they can come back here and they can share the knowledge and the techniques with their communities, and also help the president to achieve one of his big four, which is food security. And we will speak about youth, but this is exactly what we believe in. Empowering the young generation of this country, which are going to be the future leaders. So we are, every year I told you we send from Kenya, it's 100 students. From Uganda, it's more than 200 students that are being sent every year. From Malawi, it's 45 students. From Tanzania, is 100 students. We increased the number because it was important for the president himself, who loves Israel, to bring more and more Tanzanians to Israel to learn more in agriculture what he did, and also to be exposed to these innovative technologies in agriculture. Because as you said, you have rich resources here, unlike what we have there in the desert. And it's all a matter of how to manage it and how to deal with it properly. And we are, of course, we are working with you together, and it's a great pleasure for us to be able to do it.
Okay.
So this is one project. But just I'll say, because I know that among our viewers there are many young people that are curious, and they say, how can I benefit from these projects? We have Mashab, our agency, Israel's Agency for International Development Cooperation. And every year, except of this long trainingship, the 11-month agricultural trainingship, we also have courses that we offer for professionals from all over the world, and they apply, and the best application wins. And the courses are in agriculture, in education, in health, in high tech, in security. We are very proud that in the previous years we had the highest number of Kenyan professionals accepted to this program. Because it's just based about it's a matter of having the best applications, and Kenyans are showing that they are the ones to have the best applications, and we are very happy about it.
Great, because the Kenyan young people and technology, it seems to be a language they are speaking very easily, because lots of innovations right here in Kenya, and just hearing the opportunity there is to also be exposed to the advances there are in Israel. I think that's a fantastic project. And when we are at that with young people, and you being a young diplomat, one of the big challenges that young people face here in Kenya, and they are always, advocacy around it, is their involvement and recognition in terms of mainstream leadership. For instance, involvement in politics, involvement in huge decision-making platforms. And you being a young diplomat, can you maybe just tell us whether is it the culture in or practice in Israel to put young people on frontline positions, just like you have right now?
So I must tell you that there's no big difference between the young people of Israel and the young people here in Kenya. They are both ambitious, and they have their goals. And I see, as I told you, I'm not staying in office. One of my main goals is to reach the people, and especially to reach the young generation. So I go from university. I have my universities tour. I go to universities. I speak to the future leaders, and I see that the future here is bright. Because we engage. I'm going. It's they said give me a slot of 45 minutes, but then it's 2 hours, 3 hours that I stay with them, and and I hear about them and about their ideas and about their goals for improving their lives. After all, it's not only when you're a citizen of a country, you have to take care of your future, and you have to be more involved. And I see this. I see that more and more Kenyans are getting involved, are showing interest in what's going on, and it's very, very important to do. And on social media, it's a platform where you see how the young people are engaged in what's going on. They are not silenced. They're not saying in silence. They say what's on their mind. They have these discussions. And this is very, very important, and I know that the government also is empowering the youth. There are funds that are empowering the young people, the young agripreneurs, for example, these agricultural entrepreneurs, or not only in agriculture, but entrepreneurs in general. You mentioned our collaboration also in high tech, and last year we opened the trade attaché office in the embassy. And the reason for that was in order to boost the economic and trade relations between the countries, and to have more collaborations of Israel companies and Kenyan companies. And we see it little by little, and especially in this field of high tech and cybersecurity and innovation. This is the hub. Kenya is the hub for the region, and Israel Israel is a startup nation, as we said.
Let's talk about that. The startup nation, and that has been described quite a bit. That there's a lot of startups. Many startups in Israel that end up, almost exporting their innovations to the rest of the world. I just wanted to, especially for the young people who are watching this program, just describe for us what is meant by a startup nation.
So I must tell you, and I'm being asked about it whenever I go to university, say like, what can we learn from you? So you know what I like in the Israeli society is the fact that we are not afraid from failures. You know, you start something and you fail, it's not a bad thing. You know, it's not the end of the world. You learn from your mistakes. You learn. So you know, when you hear about these success stories, there are a lot of those, but there are a lot of failures as well. But the people are, you know, consistent. They know that they want, you know, they need to find these solutions for their families in all the spheres, in security, how we deal with the, you know, the rockets that are being shot at us from this terrorist organization Hamas in the south or from Iran. So they have to think about the solution. And in the first time, it doesn't succeed. So I try the second time and the third time till I succeed. And that's my tip to the young generation. Don't be afraid of these failures. Just learn about them, accept them. It's a way with the process of learning. It's very important. I don't come from the high tech field, but many of my friends are in the high tech scene. And if you come, we spoke about Jerusalem, but if you go to Tel Aviv, which is next to the beach, the Mediterranean on the Mediterranean shore, you will see it's the high tech hub of Israel, and not only, you know, Israeli startups, but big companies like Facebook, like Google. They decided to have R&D centers, research and development centers in Israel. Imagine, I remind you, we are that small, but still we attract these people because you know that we are set in mind in order to create solutions for a better future, not only for Israel but for all the world.
Okay.
And it's the same in Kenya. I must tell you, I see this promising young entrepreneurs, and you know, we have in mind this collaboration. It's only a matter of time that we'll see more and more collaborations. Israeli high tech and Kenyan high tech. Yeah.
You know, there's a phrase that you have used several times about the nation of Israel being present as it is now is a miracle, right? And then at some point also, which is many people actually, especially as Christians here in Kenya, they do believe that the Israelites are chosen people, such that the grace that the Kenyans or the Christians around the world enjoy, it's coming from the chosenness, you know, of the Jewish people. And sometimes there is always a link, you know, even though it's a conversational link, between the great success of Israel and their chosenness. For instance, you've talked about this high-tech zone and where big companies have come to establish their R&D departments. R&Ds just because there's a certain capacity that they'd want to tap from Israel. Does Israel understand its success and attribute it to faith and to the chosenness by God?
Yeah, so we are very thankful for this success, but we are not remaining, you know, we're not standing still. We always think about the next thing to do. You know, otherwise if you say, oh, I'm the chosen, no, we have God, but you also have to initiate the things. It's not that it comes, you know, out of the blue. Oh, you have this strong army. No, we work hard. We work hard to achieve it. We work hard to find solution to defeat our enemies that wants to destroy us. And in all the spheres of, and when I mean enemies, it's also the fact that the region is scarce of water, and we have to see how we get the water, and negotiating with our neighbors as well. And I must tell you, we only spoke about hostility, but I must tell you that there are winds of change in our region. We have two countries that have signed a peace agreement with us in our region, two of our neighbors. One of them is Egypt, in the south. You know, if you ask the generation of my parents and my grandparents, when they grew up, they never believed that the peace with Egypt is possible.
Was possible, yes.
And then
history does tell us about the confrontations and the war, you know, between the two countries for quite some years. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. And in 1979, there was a peace treaty that was signed by the two leaders, President Sadat from Egypt and Prime Minister Menachem Begin, and it was, and you know, since then, I think it's 40 years now, We just celebrated 40 years for this peace agreement, and the peace is there. And although it's not always as hot as we want it to be, but still there is peace. And we have peace with Jordan, and hopefully more and more countries now. I don't know if you probably read the news, but more and more countries in the region and outside of the region. I speak about the Arab and the Muslim countries. They understand that Israel is there and is a friend. We are not seeking to be hostile, and we have lots to contribute, and we can work together. It's better working together to defeat the common enemies. Because terror is not only an enemy of Israel, it's an enemy of Kenya, it's an enemy of the other countries in the Middle East, it's an enemy of the world. So we have this solution, and because unfortunately, 71 years of independence, our life wasn't easy. We had to fight terror, we had to fight enemies, and it's a great honor for us to share the knowledge and to work together with the countries. So our Prime Minister, that was a great thing that happened in 2019, he visited Sultanate of Oman. We renewed relations with the Sultanate of Oman. He went there. We also renewed relations with the African country of Chad, a Muslim country. And if you read the news, you hear about these negotiations that are going on with the Emirates and with Saudi Arabia. There are winds of change. We have the biggest enemy in the region is of course Iran and its nuclear ambitions. And they're not afraid of saying it, that they want to destroy Israel and we want to have nuclear weapons. So the world is understanding now, and I hope it's a lot of work for us as diplomats as well to convince the other countries. Listen, their intentions are bad. We need to fight it, and Iran is the one supporting the terrorist organizations all over the world. So they support Hamas and Hezbollah, the terrorist organizations that we have in our neighborhood, but they're also the supporters of Al-Shabaab and Boko Haram. They are supporters, they are the source of this evil.
When Iran makes its intention very clear that it wants to destroy, the nation of Israel.
It's crazy.
What's the source of this hatred, Eyal? What's the source of it?
You know what? I wish I could answer you this. We need to invite the Iranian ambassador here and ask him why. We still have a Jewish community in Iran, although they are, the government there doesn't allow them to be in touch with Israel, but we still have a Jewish community there. And ask me, they have no idea. After all, we are all temporary in this world. It's not that they are going to live forever. We should live peacefully. I don't understand.
And that's why I like your ideology of friendship, that you want the world to know and your neighbors to know that Israel would want to relate as a friend, so that we can be able to address the issues that are affecting the world. And I think that ideology of friendship, we pray, because there are communities in Kenya here that commit themselves to praying for the peace of Jerusalem. It's amazing. There are actually people here in Kenya who pray for Israel. And so we pray that lots of your neighbors will come to that place where they can be able to know that you want to exist as a friend, right?
Amen to this, and I go and I must tell you that we don't take your prayers for granted. It's heartwarming, and I told you I'm going to churches. I've been to Siddim churches, 3 Siddim churches. I go to other churches here and in Uganda and in Tanzania and in the other countries, and I see this love and support. And you go to Africa, you see this big support, but you go to Europe, there are movements that call to boycott Israel. This is the new source of fighting us. So you don't fight us with arms, but they say, okay, no, let's boycott everything Israel has to offer. This is something that we cannot agree. And sometimes I see that in Kenya there are these seats, these organizations that are against Israel, and they want to be more present here. But I'm happy that the Kenyan people is not convinced, to go after them and to become and to be actively be against the state of Israel. We appreciate your presence and your thoughts, and of course your visits. And the only thing, what I wish for we just celebrated the New Year, the Jewish New Year. The Jewish New Year usually is September, October. We have the Jewish calendar. So one of my wishes for the next year is to have direct flights from Israel to Kenya, from Kenya to Israel. it's about time that we have it.
Oh yeah,
We used to
direct
have
flight
it.
would be good. Yes.
I know,
yes.
we used to have it till the attacks in Mombasa in 2002 when, if you remember,
I do remember,
Shabbat military also
yes.
tried to shoot missiles in the air on our airplanes. But now it's about time. More and more people here in Kenya are going, as you said, to pilgrimage to discover what Israel has to offer.
As well.
Business.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I do hope, it's one of these big wishes. We have actually in 2 weeks, Seychelles, one of our countries that we cover, they open direct flights from Tel Aviv to Victoria. Can you imagine? Rwanda has just opened direct flights, Kigali, Tel Aviv. So it's about time that we also have flights from here.
Oh, I mean, it's like Kenya should have had that for,
I know,
way earlier.
I know.
Yeah.
And I must tell you that we have a new ambassador in town that arrived 2 months ago, and he's working very, very hard on this. So he's going to be on the flight in Seychelles, the main flight. And
the maiden flight, yeah.
And I wish that he will be also
on the maiden flight from Nairobi
to Tel Aviv.
Let it be. Let it be.
Amen.
Let
Amen.
it be. Let's going back to the people of Israel and the government, and how you work so hard, because it's very clear that there's one of the big things that is attributed to the Israeli people is their diligence, their hard work, their persistence, and how do you maintain the mechanism such that the people of the Israel get the benefits especially the economic benefits that the nation is able to reap? Because many governments in Africa, in East Africa, even ours, sometimes we struggle. We make wealth, but it doesn't get to the people, right? And the people are always, in a state of restlessness because of that. How do you ensure that there's integrity in your process in terms of distribution of resources?
So I must tell you that the uniqueness of Israel is the fact that each citizen has to contribute to the country. We have to be involved in what's going on. When you reach the age of 18, you have to go to the military and contribute to your country. The country has given to you 18 years. You grew up and the prosperity and the democratic life, but then you have to contribute for yourself. And I think that gives us a lot. That brings us together as a country. You're getting more involved in what's going on, because you cannot say, well, there are some who are not serving in the army, but if they don't serve in the army, for example, the minorities, some of the minorities, they have to contribute to the country in different ways. Volunteering in organizations that help the society. So we are all involved in what's going on. And also it's a small country, so you think about it. We have all these threats. So you speak about army, it sounds a bit threatening. Oh, you serve the army, but no, the army is, without the army that we have, we wouldn't exist. So we can have, unfortunately we don't have gold. We just have, Israel is the land of milk and honey. That's so we don't have gold and we don't have the other metals and the riches, but we have the richness in history and the richness, and this holiness that we spoke about. But you have the sense of, it's a great honor to defend your country, to contribute to your country. And this is, I think, that's what get the people more into it, and then more involved in politics, more involved in what's going on. You cannot stay indifferent because you have to take care of your family. You have to defend your neighborhood, your community, and it's for women and men alike. So men serve when I was in the army, long time ago. It was 3 years for men, 2 years for women. I know that now it's everything is equal. So I think the number of years for men and women are the same. But this is something that the thing is one of the reasons for our success as well.
Yeah, that sense of patriotism.
Patriotism, yes, and this this military service that we have the right to contribute to your country. It is a right. It's not. I don't look at it as a duty. It is a right to contribute and to serve your country.
Okay, so it's before you expect from the state you are already giving to it. You know, that's interesting.
But also, you know, you get from it, you know, 18th year, you're not enrolling to the army when you are 3. You have sometimes that you get from the state. So I think it's, and many look at this army service like this as a great opportunity to contribute, and also it's 3 years of your life, and you learn. It depends where you serve, but you get the techniques and the capacities to be a better citizen, to be a better student in university. You know, you get to the real world at the age of 18. That's great.
Yeah, which is interesting because, again, talking about the way, the mindset of people, especially young people, it sounds more as if Israel learns how to work smart as compared to work hard, because there's that emphasis of we're a small nation and we have to work very hard, and we have to protect ourselves, and we have to, you know, make sure that we are surviving, you know. And so there's a certain, you know, dynamic there that sounds like we work smart. Yes, we work hard, but
smart and hard together. Yes. This is the right combination, because you can work hard, but you know, don't think about the solutions. But smart and hard. This is the answer. Yes.
You know, when you are working right now at the embassy, and definitely Kenya-Israel relationships very vibrant, and a lot going on. Are there some particular things that you'd feel you'd want to highlight in terms of what's going on right now? Israel, Kenya, some projects, some initiatives, some also maybe some things to look forward to in the coming years in terms of the relationship between the two countries.
Yeah, so I already talked about this agricultural training that is taking place as we speak. I think the new group of students that came in August to the Israeli desert. This is our flagship project that is ongoing for 11 months. And actually next year we plan to do, you know, with the leadership of the ambassador, we're planning to do an event to empower this alumni of this project. You know, every year we have 100 students that are going, but then when they are back, we want to engage them. We want to make sure that together with the Kenyan government, of course, and together with the other partners, we want to make sure that they use the capacity, you know, the capacity building that they gained, and the technologies that they use it here, and they empower their societies. So we're going to do a big event. This is our, you know, we're discussing now the plan for 2020, but this is a major thing. We want to engage this alumni of this project to contribute more and to do more, to make sure that they are doing more for the Kenyan society, and they are doing. But we want to encourage them to do more. So that's more details will be revealed later on. We speak about agriculture, but we also have culture aspects. You know, I believe that we believe that culture is a great bridge between the people. And if it is participating in the Jazz Festival of Nairobi, we are among the founders of the festival. I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. And so every year we bring here musicians from Israel. And also I know that Kenyan musicians are going to Israel as well to perform. We have an Israeli famous singer here that used to be a deputy ambassador in the embassy, Gilad Milo. And he brings his friends to Israel to perform as well, and this is great. So this is the music side, but also Jazz Festival is usually February or March. What we have at the end of this month in Nairobi is the Israeli Film Festival. For the 3rd year in a row, we collaborate, of course, with the KFCB and with the Kenyan Film Commission. And we do a festival of Israeli films, 3 days. It is from the 27th to the 29th of November in the National Museum. 3 days, 3 films every day, and it's free. So I invite all the viewers, I invite, of course, yourself, I invite all our viewers to come and learn about the culture of Israel, because movies, it's a great tool to learn about the society, about Israel itself, and there are great movies that are going to be shown. Have you ever watched an Israeli film?
Oh yes. Oh,
You
yeah,
watched?
yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I love movies and good movies. So some of them, of course, are Israeli. Yes.
Yes, and I must tell you that
fantastic movies. Yeah.
And you know the language in Israel. Don't be afraid. The language is Hebrew, but there are subtitles, of course. And you know, because the Hebrew is, of course, is our language.
You know, and yeah, you know, when we talk about the language, yeah, Hebrew, and one of the things spoken about the language of Hebrew is that it was actually a dying language, and somehow, you know, Israel is managing to bring back, you know, this language to the mainstream, you know.
That is a part of the miracle that we have. This the revival was only not only of the state of Israel, but also of this biblical language. Because Hebrew is the language of the Bible. It's a very difficult language to learn. Although you know one word already. I don't know if you remember from the beginning of the show.
Shalom.
Shalom. Yes. So that's a great way to start. I do hope, you know, I'm here for 2 more years, if everything goes well, that I know more Swahili and you know more Hebrew.
I would be glad.
Yes.
I would be very glad. Yes, yes. I think that's interesting. And you know, talking about the culture and the history of Israel, we hinted to this earlier, but it's good to also hear from you, because the Holocaust is a big, you know, event when it comes to the life of Israel and the culture of Israel and the history of Israel. Would you maybe mention how you have felt Kenya, you know, join in solidarity with Israel in remembering, you know, the Holocaust?
So I must tell you, for the viewers that are not aware, I know that not everyone here knows about the Holocaust. I hope that it is being taught, but I know that not everyone knows the Holocaust was the tragic event that happened to the Jewish people in the 20th century, where 6 million Jews were killed by the Nazis, and by Nazi Germany, and of course the collaborators. The aim of Hitler was to destroy the Jewish people, to whip it off the map of the world. So he started his job, and 6 million Jews were killed till he was stopped. And that was the biggest tragedy, the biggest genocide that we experienced. And you know, every year we have 2 memorial days for this tragic event, because you know the lesson is, you know, is to remember and never forget. And you know, we are reaching now, it's more than 70 years since the end of World War II and the end of the Holocaust. And this generation, the generation of people that survived the Holocaust, are not with us. Little by little, they are old people now. So it is our duty as the children and the grandchildren and our children to tell their story, in order for not to tell a story only in Israel, but all over the world, in order to prevent similar events from happening. And I must tell you that the world hasn't learned enough. We hear about atrocities and genocide that are taking place in countries of the world, but it is still important to remember this, because it was, you know, Jewish people, one people was targeted in a crazy plan to destroy and not to even single, not to let even single Jew to remain alive. And every year we have, as I said, 2 memorial days. One in Israel that we do just a week before our Independence Day, because we remember that one of the things that led us to this Independence Day was the fact that we had to sacrifice a lot of our people, and until the world understood that okay, we have to see what's going on, because in order to prevent atrocities of this against the Jewish people. And the other one is the International Holocaust Memorial Day on the 27th of January every year. It is recognized by the UN. And since we are representing also Israel in the UN here, we make sure that we have a respectful event here at the UN headquarters. And of course, we do it together with the UNON, with the office in Nairobi of the UN, and of course with other embassies, to tell the story. But this year, it was unique because, except for this specific event, we also had 2 more events. One of them was here in Sitam, Valley Road, that I was approached, the embassy was approached by a group of Christians who love Israel and said, like, we want for the first time be with you and commemorate with you this tragic event. And I came here, and there was a very respectful ceremony as well, and very touching, because it wasn't expected, but it came as an initiative not of us. It came an initiative of the
Kenyans.
people of Kenyans. They wanted, and they want to support Holocaust survivors in Israel. This is touching. This is a great thing. So we do this, and also, of course, it's important for us to do an event in universities. Around in January, just a week or 2 weeks before, we go to each year a different university. We have a discussion with the students about the Holocaust, about the lessons. It's either me, ambassador, are speaking about it. Last year we had a group of young Jewish leaders from Boston that came to Israel to see the close relations that Israel has with Kenya, and it turned out to be that they came, especially in the day of in the week of Holocaust Memorial Day, and the discussions that they had with the Kenyan students were unforgettable and were very important. Because me as I'm going and give a lecture is one thing, but then having these discussions and telling personal stories of our family relatives that we lost in the Holocaust. This is something a bit different that adds another value to the discussion.
All right. Is it okay for me to ask you, Eyal, your personal experience with the Holocaust, you and your family?
Yes. So actually, that was what I spoke about also when I gave a speech at the UN. It was my first time as a representative of Israel speaking in front of all the delegates at the United Nations, and telling the story of Israel and representing the Jewish state that only 70 years ago Hitler, the leader of Nazi Germany, wanted to diminish, and we said, like, no, we are here. And there is a state, and I'm telling you, I'm speaking about it, and I have goosebumps because it is. Imagine, it is exciting to stand in front of the world and tell them, yes, we are the survivors. We are here. We established the state of Israel, and we are among one of the countries of the world, recognized country. It's a great thing, and it's a great honor to stand and to do it, to be the representative of the Jewish state, of the Jewish people. So my family, as I told you, my mother was born in Libya, in North Africa, and the Holocaust is, when you say Holocaust, it was mainly in Europe. It started in Nazi Germany, but little by little, Hitler and his army occupied most of Europe. So he had, the final solution that he planned together with his people was calculating how many Jews there are in each country, how many Jews we need to kill in each country in order to destroy the Jewish people and to whip them off the map. And when you get to Italy, they set it very, very organized. When they go to the Italy, you see that they calculated not only the Jews of Italy, but also the Jewish community of Libya, because Libya was ruled back then by Benito Mussolini and by the Italians. It was it was a fascist regime. So I must tell you that even in North Africa, they arrived there, and around 200 Jews were deported from the shores of North Africa to the concentration camps and death camps in Europe. And we speak about a small amount, 200, but every Jew was important for them. They wanted to kill every Jew. So, and also they built a concentration camp in the desert of Libya. Imagine, in Africa, concentration camp against the Jewish community. So luckily my family, my grandmother, who was a child back then in the 40s, it wasn't her community that was sent to the concentration camp. She was born in Tripoli. The Jewish community of Benghazi, another city, was sent to the concentration camp. But she was, and this is unfortunately I say it, but I learned about it a few years ago. She was sexually abused by Nazi soldiers that were there. And it was very hard. She kept it in secret for many, many years. But that's how you destroy. You don't necessarily kill the people, but you kill them from inside. It's a crazy thing. It's not easy even now to speak about it. but you know, it's important that people know what happened. And what happened not only in Europe, they were so crazy, they even reached North Africa. So this is the story of my family in Libya. But I must tell you that my father, so his mother is from Lebanon, and his father is from Greece. So to Lebanon, the Nazis didn't arrive, luckily, but to Greece they arrived, and most of the Jewish community were destroyed, was killed in the Holocaust. The family of my father arrived to Israel before the Holocaust, but it was only in 2009 when I visited Berlin, and there is have you been to Berlin?
Yes, I've been to Berlin.
So they have a few museums that commemorating World War II and the Holocaust. Of course, there is next to Brandenburg Gate. They have a Holocaust memorial, and underneath, you know, underground, they have a small Holocaust museum, and they give a story of a family from each country that was killed by the Nazis. And when I get to Greece, I go and I read the stories because that's a unique concept. And when I get to Greece, I see the family of my grandfather. The David family, Ioannina, Greece. Now, Ioannina is there was a small Jewish community. The biggest Jewish community was in Saloniki, and in Athens, of course. And it was then that I learned that it wasn't my grandfather. It was probably his second cousin, third cousin. I didn't have it. We never spoke about it. But you see, you speak to every Israeli, and he tells you about his relation to the story. If it's not him, it's his neighbor, and it's our duty, especially also as diplomats, to tell the story, to make the world know and never forget. Remember and never forget.
Remember
yes.
and never forget.
Yes.
You're quite a moving account there, and I mean, there's no better way to put it than remember, never forget.
Exactly.
You know? And Eyal, I mean, I'm sure there's a word that you'd want to tell Kenyans just before we wind up this program. You can look right into this camera, just speak to Kenyans. And do you like nyama choma? You know, what Kenyan food have you picked in the last 1 year that you really like?
I love chapati.
Oh, good.
I love the chapati with the spinach. Spinach is one of my favorites, so I love it. I also love nyama choma. But you know, I must tell you that I also find Israeli food here. You go to Art Cafe. Art Cafe, there are Israelis that operate it, and you have falafel and hummus, so it makes me feel at home. Yeah, so it is a great thing. And you know, concluding with a message to our viewers, and of course to you, it's an open invitation for all of you to come to Israel, to come to the Holy Land, come and explore the places where Jesus lived, walk in the footsteps of Jesus, see what we did. You know, we spoke a lot about it. See what he did in the desert. See how our great leader we are in agriculture, in high tech, and also participate in our courses, in Mashav courses that are available online. You can just click on the website for 2019. We are reaching the end, but be alert to check every couple of months on our website and apply. Believe in yourself, have the best applications, and I do hope that you'll get this opportunity to come to Israel, not only for pilgrimage, but also to learn, and of course to do business. So I invite our viewers, and I invite you to come, and it would be my great honor to sign your visa when you go. So please let me know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Eyal,
thank you for having me.
This was fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic conversation. Now you have to help me. What do I do with all the young women who are asking for your number?
Let me handle them.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So much.
And Toda Rabba. That's Asante Sana. Asante Sana, and in Hebrew, I'll teach you more words. It's Toda Rabba.
Toda Rabba.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Thank you.
Viewers, we've been talking to Eyal David, who is the Deputy Ambassador of Israel here in Nairobi, and we have learned so much, and we want to also appreciate very much Erez Africa, who have been very helpful to us here on Hope TV to have this conversation possible, and lots of things that we get from our friend Eyal. And you know, one of the big things is that when you go to Israel, holiness is in the air. And how we pray, even for us here in Kenya. Lots of us are Christians. May we have that holiness in the air. This has been Spotlight.